Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Castello Show. It is match week 5. We apologize we were not here last week. We've been trying to get the new studio up. Some of you may have seen the post. Basically, the studio's in progress. We were hoping it would be done last week, but we didn't get it out in time, but we just couldn't take 2 weeks off. We know that tens of people are waiting for us to get on YouTube and be wrong, so we thought it was important.
Yeah, Grayson might have lost this week.
Right. So, shout out to Grayson. We wanted to get back up for you guys. So, this should be the last episode from the dining room. Hopefully, we're excited for the studio. I think it's going to turn out nice.
Yeah.
But let's get into last week, because we do have stuff to cover, and then this week we've got a lot to go over. So, we're going to kind of breeze through the review. John, games you want to talk about. Where do we want to start?
I guess the Red Bull game.
Yeah, big one. And exciting.
Yeah, and 2-2 was the lowest I expected that score to be. I'm not surprised at 2-2, but I thought it'd be that or more. You know, just Orlando, they score, and they can't stop the attack.
Yeah.
I thought it was a good matchup for the Red Bull.
It does make Orlando, they're a fun fantasy team. Because really, you can always count on Ojeda to be a high scorer. As long as Orlando's not up against some stacked defense, he's going to go out and do something. He just always does.
Well, and did you see who took the PK for Red Bull?
Remind me.
Forsberg.
I knew it wasn't Forsberg.
Forsberg?
Yeah, I know that one.
Not Forsberg.
Yeah.
No, Chopa-Matang, however you say that.
It was Choupo-Moting. I think. I'm not sure how to say
that sounds right.
But yeah, goals from him and Dennis Giengar. Fun game to watch, but really my takeaway from this was Ojeda had 9 points, right? And then obviously your two other goal scorers with 9. But then Atuesta with 7, Pasalic with 7, Muriel with 5. Orlando is kind of a team where when you need a budget midfielder and you just want you just need someone to get 6 or 7
points.
points.
Pasalic, he's not a midfielder. He's a midfielder in the fantasy game, but he's a forward for them.
Right. But it's definitely, and we knew this isn't news, but it's a team that you can look for sneaky budget
100%, but Ojeda's pretty consistent. He's becoming one of the more consistent people in the game.
Yes.
Taking over where Evander and Lucho have departed.
What I also wanted to point out here is just how bad Duncan McGuire is. He's not even playing anymore.
Well, are you saying fantasy-wise or real life? I feel like every time he comes in, he scores a goal. But the guy plays 15 minutes. He's like Giroud was in Europe in the latter years.
Well,
he's like a super sub.
Fantasy-wise, he's not good.
Never take him.
And he's
100% goal-dependent.
Yes.
And even when he scores a goal, he gets 6 or 7 points.
Right.
It's not.
But I did kind of want to just highlight the fall of Duncan McGuire, because I remember when we first started playing this game, he was the Orlando guy that you kind of wanted.
But I think he's a good player. In real life.
Right. No, I like him as a super sub. But he's not a name we've talked about for a while, and it was funny when he got subbed in, I was like, oh my god, I forgot Duncan McGuire was alive. So
I have a game I want to talk about.
Okay, let's get into
LAFC, Austin.
Yeah.
LAFC is a nightmare now.
No, I don't know.
I don't know what's happening. And by the way, what happened to Belonga at home? Belonga at home had a goal every game last season. There was definitely one. There might have been 2 games he didn't score a goal. This year he's 0 for 3.
Right.
And he didn't score in the away game either.
No.
4 games, no goal. Regular season games, because he scored in the CCC that nobody watches.
Yeah. Well, and watching, it's not even, there's some guys, they don't score, and they had the chances and they just couldn't put them away. I don't feel like Belonga can create a chance anymore. It was his highlight is when he gets one-on-one with a wingback, he can get
He
space.
had one game this season. It could have been this past one, but I'm possibly getting mixed up. But he had one game where he had a lot of shots.
Yeah.
And they just didn't go in.
At
the goalie, hit the post.
I feel like I'm seeing less and less chance.
Maybe he misses Bogusz.
I think that's part of it. I got to be honest, I think Kai Kamara was nice to have around. I think he was drawing.
Yeah, but Bogusz was playing every game.
Yeah, but I feel like they're almost.
It's like, how good is T. Higgins going to be? Well, he just signed,
Right.
so he is with Jamar Chase for at least the next 2 seasons. But if he went somewhere else, how good would he be without Jamar Chase attracting all of that coverage on the other side?
Exactly.
Attention.
I think
so. Now there's no Bogusz. Are they just keying on Bouanga?
Yeah, well, and that's what it feels like. It feels like every time he has the ball, there's 2 people on him. I don't feel like he's getting the daylight that we were used to seeing him operate in, and I don't think he knows how to create it when he's double marked. Which
apparently not.
That's not really even a knock on Bouanga. It's really hard to create space when you're being double fucking marked all the time. But it is on LAFC. I mean, you lose Ilie Sanchez, which I didn't think that was some.
I didn't think that was big either.
But
maybe it is.
And Austin looks pretty good with
that. That was very nice, though. Did you see any of the pre-game stuff with him going back to the stadium?
Yeah.
And seeing, like, this guy that works at the stadium, this security guy.
Yeah.
And he was happy to see him.
No, I love
that kind of stuff's really nice.
I
always
Ilie
like seeing
Sanchez.
that kind of stuff.
And I like this Austin team. I gotta be honest, I don't like Brandon Vasquez. I still feel like the hype hasn't been delivered on him.
No.
But I think they look good. I think Ilie seems to have found a home there. They move the ball well. Like, as much as this is LAFC's catastrophic, that's the headline here. It was a good game for Austin. I thought they looked pretty good. They controlled them.
Yeah. No, they're starting to come together. And defensively, I mean, a clean sheet on the road is always good.
Yeah.
There's actually, now that I'm looking at this line, there's a lot of games to talk about. DC Montreal.
One of the most shocking 0-0.
0-0. Like, I didn't expect DC to get a clean sheet because they don't get it. But I wasn't surprised by it. I was very surprised by Montreal's. But Benteke had that goal disallowed.
Right.
On the handball.
Yeah, which was a handball. I gotta be honest, I'm getting to a point now where I don't like VAR anymore. I just wanted that to count. I'm so tired.
Well, I had him on my fantasy team, so I definitely wanted to count. And he
Yeah.
still got 6 points without that, so he would have had even more.
Yeah. No, there was a lot of goals disallowed and a lot of VAR. I mean, the Philly-Nashville game, there was so many fucking replays.
But the DC Montreal game, overall, that was pretty hard to watch. There wasn't a lot of...
Rough game. Charlotte, I did want to talk about them. 2-0 at home over Cincinnati. To be honest, and we are hard on Charlotte. We're harder on Charlotte than anyone else. I was shocked they kept that clean sheet. Evander came out of his fucking shoes.
Cincinnati on the road, though, it's been horrible.
No, they're bad. But I felt like, Evander had, if you go back and watch the highlights, that free kick that goes off the inside of the post.
That should have been a goal.
That should have been a goal. Like, that's just so unlucky. And he had another volley from, 25 out that Kalina just made an unbelievable save.
And that's good. Maybe he's starting to get into form now, starting to get into that club. I mean, the first goal for Charlotte was a nightmare for that defender, whoever that was, that headed it back to no one.
Yep.
Don't look. Don't see if somebody from your team's there. Just assume and head it a perfect pass to Abada with no one in front of him.
Yeah, and I do want to give credit to Ajimong, and it's what we saw from him last season. He just beat the piss out of those center backs. He was just so much bigger.
Yeah, he's a big, strong guy.
The only way they could stop him was foul him. He gets the red card eventually.
I haven't found Zaha very impressive so far.
No, and honestly, what I think is going to happen is Zaha will cool down. Ajimong will start scoring. Because of that, Ajimong is going to get a little more marked up, and that's going to create space for Zaha. I do think Zaha kind of...
put Ajimong with Bouanga and see what happens.
Yeah. One thing I do like that I'm starting to see them do is Zaha's dropping into this, almost 10 space, kind of behind Ajimong when they're both on the field together. I like that. I think he is good at getting that attacking ball up in a way that I don't see from your Pep BLs and things like that.
But actually, that ball up to him for the goal, that second goal was BL. And that was a good pass. I hate that guy. I think he's so overrated. But that was actually a good pass.
Yeah. No, and I had...
Good assist. And coming right off the heels of that other, Cincinnati was down, and then bang, hit him in the mouth, stayed down, game over.
No, the second one was good.
Did I send you any of the pictures I took of the TV before that game?
No, you did not.
That was the 10U boys team walking out.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Shout out to him.
Yep.
I did want to talk about Dallas.
I did too. So disappointed.
Yeah.
I mean, there is not a team in this league. It's not LA Galaxy. It's not LAFC. It is Dallas. That is the most disappointing team in the league so far.
Yes. Now, I want to run through. This is top to bottom highest fantasy scores from that game. Tristan Blackman from Vancouver with 15 points. Vilasenovic, 8 points. Laborda, 8 points. Ahmed, 7 points.
Yeah, those first four are all defenders because they got the clean sheet.
Right. Ngondo, 7 points. Takioka, 7 points. Ocampo, 7 points. Vite, 5 points. We are still not to a Dallas player yet.
No.
Berhalter, 4 points. Cubas, 4 points. And now, the first Dallas player with 3 points. That is the highest fantasy score of any Dallas player.
A team with Musa, Lucho, Martin Paz,
unbelievable. And I honestly don't know where
Leggett.
I don't know where they go from here. I don't know what needs to be changed. I don't know, and part of it is I don't think Acosta settled in. I don't think they know how to play with him because a lot of what I liked about Acosta at Cincinnati was his ability to draw attention, but not always be the guy on the play, and he could make something happen too. When it was the 90th
he could lull
minute,
someone to sleep and then go.
Right, and I'm not seeing that out of Dallas, and I don't think they know how to get it out of him. We're not seeing, the Acosta just, let the ball run through his legs to the guy behind him. He's not doing it at Dallas, because they're not fucking expecting him to. They're not gelled yet.
No. And it's a lot of new players.
Yes, now I will also...
And the focal point should be Lucho.
Yes. Now, to give Dallas some credit here, this is Vancouver's 4th clean sheet in a row. This is not... It's not just Dallas that has been shut down by this
Vancouver without
background.
Ryan Gauld.
Right. And, by the way, great game without Ryan Gauld. They don't really seem to miss him that much.
No, but it's going to be a lot harder without Brian White, Ali Ahmed,
Yeah, we're going to have to
Gauld still.
see how they cope with this transfer window, or not transfer window, international window. I also think a lot of teams are going to have to cope.
But they're...
Yeah, no, they need those guys.
Yeah, that's rough. That's their 3 most attacking players.
Other than that, I did want to talk about the Union just really coming back down to earth.
No kidding, though.
A fantastic goal from Lukic. Incredible off the volley. That was awesome.
And if you do play fantasy MLS, it was like every other goal this whole season. A goal for the team my guy's on. I have the best player or players on that team. Who scored?
Yeah. Well, and then, by the way, they get the penalty. And I'm like, I had Wagner, Gazdag, and Baribo.
I had all 3 of them as well.
Penalty kick called, and I go, I don't even care which one of those 3 takes it. It's going in. And they sent up fucking Quinn Sullivan.
Yeah.
Who, look, I like Quinn Sullivan. I really do. I think he's a good player. I think he's young. I think there's a lot of future for him at Philly. But he's taking penalty kicks? In whose mind was that the right decision? With Ty Baribo and Daniel Gazdag standing there.
Insane.
You pick Quinn Sullivan. It's just insane to me. In a game you're losing. Now also, Nashville, Surge, is he back? I think he could be.
Yeah.
To be honest, Mukhtar, I didn't feel super impressed, even though he had a good game. I felt like there was still a lot of...
Yeah.
I felt like
and a lot of people like him now. They think he's back. He's the Mukhtar of, 2 or 3 years ago, however long ago.
Right, and I just don't... I don't know about that.
No, I don't.
I like
Surge.
I think Surge is the future there. I think Mukhtar will continue to put up points. I just don't think he's someone you can really rely on every game. And that's the standard that I hold him to, because that's what he came into the league at. He's just not that guy anymore to me.
Yeah.
But Nashville figured it out. They got the win. Very good game from Joe Willis as well. A lot of saves. Yeah, he just looked good. Saved the penalty.
Yeah. Saved one with his mustache.
But all in all, that goes down as a Philly loss to me as much as it goes down as a win.
So, I don't know how many more games you want to talk about, but there's one I definitely want to talk about.
Honestly, I'm good.
Did you watch Kansas City, Minnesota?
I didn't,
in the snow.
I didn't watch the game. I ended up watching... I went back and watched everything that happened, but I'll let you give the rundown.
So I watched the first half.
Right.
and Minnesota ran away with it. 3-0.
Yep.
It's over. And Kansas City's terrible. I didn't know till the next day that it was a tie. Here's another good one. They're playing in the snow in the first half.
Mm-hmm.
With the regular ball.
Yeah.
They clean off all the snow. There's no more snow. They bring out the orange ball for the second half. And I was like, what?
Silly.
But
no, honestly,
Minnesota defense should be embarrassed. To
Yeah.
take, and their offense too, score more goals. Like, to take a 3-0 lead and blow that.
Yes.
Yeah.
No,
that shouldn't happen at this level.
It's not okay. And
if it's 3-0 at this level, the team that's up 3-0 should win 100% of the time.
Yeah, especially that late in the game. Now, I will say, Joveljic on the board.
Yes. Which I'm happy about. I like him.
Love that for him. And honestly, what I do think Kansas City proved a little is, like, they can do it. They can get on the board. They can start, a little run. I think this is kind of hope for Kansas City. We'll still don't think this is where they want to be. I mean, they were getting blown out up until they brought it back. So it's not everything you want out of them, but I do think this could be a turning point. I think this could be Joveljic starting to get goals, at least against the Nashvilles of the world.
I'm not convinced. That's I guess the best way to put it.
No, I mean, what this does for me is brings them from a absolute bottom of the table team to, hey, we could be looking at a play-in game look. I think, they're still by no means exciting to me. But a little bit going on there. And Minnesota's, as embarrassing as that was, I don't think they're a bad team. I mean, they controlled that game for a lot of it. So putting up 3 goals on them, that's not easy,
Embarrassing.
That's really all I had for individual games. I did want to cover a few fantasy performances here. Hugo Kuipers. I love Hugo Kuipers.
Yeah, and I was going to play him this week. So mad at myself.
9 points. I really think when Chicago has a good matchup, you just have to play him. He's $9.5 million now. He's not a budget guy anymore.
Well, I went Gutierrez, and
who I also had. And here's the thing. Kuipers, every game, he's at least going to have an opportunity. He's not going to have a goal every game, but he's going to have an opportunity. Gutierrez, I felt like they played on the opposite side of him a lot of the game. Like, I felt like he wasn't getting involved, but it wasn't his fault.
But he's a midfielder,
the
right?
The ball wasn't really at him a lot.
Wherever the goals are going to be, you'd think he'd be involved. So he could get assists. He could get goals. But he's probably going to have passes, key passes. He's going to have all the... Yeah. So it's a safer pick. With a forward, you never know, and a lot of forwards don't get bonus points.
Yeah, well...
They're goal-dependent.
Kuipers, though, I mean, let's pull up his actual... Yeah, and they're... I mean, let's see. Oh, good, it's not going to let me slide. But I imagine key passes and something. It's not
or it could be shots.
Right now. It could be shots.
4 shots is a point.
What I like about Kuipers and why I think he's a player you can take, at least when they have a good matchup, is Kuipers is your prototypical goal poacher. He's in the box. He's getting on the end of crosses.
And he's their guy that scores.
And it's hustle plays. Kuipers refuses to get beat to a ball. Like, if he gets beat to a ball, it's rare, and he truly, there's nothing he could have done about it if he didn't get there first. I never see Kuipers get beat and think it was effort,
Right.
He's definitely someone I'm looking at. Baribo, off week. The whole team was bad.
Should have had a PK.
Yeah, it happens. I'm not off Baribo forever. I mean, you just can't score every week. And he's gone crazy lately. I think at some point this had to happen.
If I take you on my team, you can't score any week.
Right. But I think this was going to happen. There was going to be a week where he shit the bed. This happened to be it. Other than that, I really didn't. I mean, everyone shit the bed. I had Hollingshead with 2 bonus points. That's nice. Jordi Alba, I did have against Atlanta. He's a guy who I think you and I have both sort of forgotten about.
I didn't forget about him. I don't like taking Miami players anymore.
Yeah, I get that.
I'm sick of it. I don't want to watch their games.
Yeah.
Seriously.
By the way,
and their defense sucks. If Alba, it's generally going to be offensive points, but there's other guys. I like Wagner better.
What I did
I like
say,
Orejano when he starts getting into it.
Yeah.
I like Longwani. Like, I don't like Longwani this week because his whole team's gone.
Yeah.
But I like Longwani. There's a lot of guys that I like before him.
And I did want to say just about that game, not that I didn't even watch that game.
I didn't either.
But
no interest.
I watched the highlights, and we say this every year at some point, but goddamn is Brad Guzan so good at goal.
Yeah, when I watched the highlights, I thought that.
He's unbelievable.
Did you see Messi go and he saved one of Messi's shots, and Messi went like out of bounds past the goal.
Mm-hmm.
Stood up as he's walking back onto the field. It wouldn't be a high five, but
yeah, like tapped him.
He slapped his hand. Like,
yeah, no, Guzan is
great save.
Guzan's awesome.
He is,
and I hope that guy never retires. I want him around forever. He's a guy that I didn't like when I was first becoming big, and I think
he's ugly.
Yeah, I think it had a lot to do with
his face,
his nose,
his head.
Yeah, no, he looks like an old baby.
He looks like Shrek.
But
he's the biggest mini-me of all time.
He's very good at soccer, though. He's a great goalie.
And he's a gamer.
Yeah. No, I love Brad Guzan.
Yeah, he's an effort guy.
I wish he wasn't on Atlanta because I feel like he is gonna he's gonna get screwed all season. He's gonna lose games that he fucking played out of his shoes.
I don't know. Brooks Lang's back. I think that'll help.
Yeah. No, we'll see. I think.
And as Almiron gets more comfortable, they'll control the ball more and control the game.
And by the way, there are panic alarms sounding in Atlanta right now.
Yeah.
When is Almiron gonna fucking get it together?
Yeah. Not this weekend, because he's playing for Paraguay.
Yeah. So, and maybe that's a good thing. Maybe
he needs a break.
He needs to get the fuck out of the U.S. for a little. He needs to reset.
No, I think that's a good thing. Too.
With all that, I mean, were there individual guys you wanted to cover before we get into the international stuff?
Are you talking about that I had, or just in general?
Yeah, last week fantasy. Anything you wanted to bring up? I didn't want to do a full breakdown because we didn't do predictions.
I might have had the lowest score of all time.
Yeah,
and I'll tell you,
pretty terrible.
This year, my first week was horrible, and I've gotten worse every week. My first week, I had 65 points, and I couldn't have been more disappointed.
Yeah.
Until the next week when I had 55 points.
Right.
And then the following week, I had 41 points. And last week, I had 32 points. I don't know what's going on. I will say this. If I never did this before, if this was my first year, I think I would be doing better.
Yep.
I am picking a lot of guys that have been good in the past and are not this year. And I'm making the mistake of, like Bouanga. Bouanga didn't score in his first game, and it was at home. He's not going to have 2 home games in a row he doesn't score a goal.
Right.
Yes, he does. He's not going to have 3 home games in a row where he doesn't score a goal. Yes, he will.
Yep.
And that's been, and Lucho, and Evander, and Musa. And it's just been bad. And I am definitely doing a lot of, hey, they can't do that bad again. Not just players, teams. And, I mean, I had, of my 5 defenders, 4 were in the starting lineup. 1 was an accident. I thought he was going to scrub out. I didn't even look at the lineups for the last games because I was done. I was so angry.
Right.
And then the guy that was my scrub actually played. 1, 2, 2, 2, 3. My keepers, 2, 3. My midfielders, 2, 4, 2, 2, 4. My forwards, 4, 6, 4. Christian Benteke was my only player that had more than 4 points.
Yeah, no, that's brutal.
And he only had 6.
Yeah.
I couldn't have imagined a score this bad.
Yeah. Well, and I'll be honest with you. I do think
that the own goal by NYC was like a dagger through my heart. Because I had Freeze on the bench.
Yeah.
And then I was going to scrub out I had Cavallo, defender, on the bench.
Yeah.
Who I would scrub out. And I had Hawk on the field. I had 2 defenders and a keeper.
Yeah. No, and you just,
And what sucks is they didn't score. Right. So it's not like, oh, you thought they weren't going to score and they did.
Yeah,
no, they didn't.
It wasn't even like, I mean, that own goal.
Was horrible.
If you did.
That wasn't even like one where Well, the attack was so strong that the defense, they had a...
No, yeah, it was just kind of this, like, blind
Awful.
cross in. No,
he didn't have to touch it.
On the, I mean,
there was
he
no
wasn't,
one
like,
near
marked.
him. There was no urgency to have to get to the ball. I mean, there was nothing that
it
had to
looked
be an
like
own goal.
Should have been
it was
pretty
not
easy.
a forced own goal.
Well, and what he did, if you watch, he swings at that fucking ball as hard as he can. All he had to do was get his foot up and bounce it up high and over the, like, give up the corner there. You don't have to, like, rip it to the sideline, which is what I think he was trying to do.
Awful.
But yeah, terrible. Now,
and then that just...
Let's get into international call-ups. There's a bunch of
ton.
guys. We're not... Well, before I say that...
I can go through the important ones. Or
yeah.
Do you want to...
I don't want to cover every single team.
No, but I'll go through. So, Atlanta United, Almiron, Cobb, Gregerson, Slish. There's some big names. I mean...
They're missing a lot.
That's a team that I would avoid this week, personally.
Yeah, I agree. Austin, I mean, Mirto Zuni, but I don't...
Charlotte, Abada, Ajamong, Ream.
Yeah, and those are three big ones. Now, I'll say Ream, I don't know exactly who...
He's so overrated.
Fits in there. Well, yes, but I don't know who takes the spot right now. I guess, I mean, is Yernan gone?
Yeah, he's gone. Yeah.
Who's that new DP? Is he here?
That's who's it's going to be. Well, yeah, I guess if he's here, and he's not on international duty.
Right. I mean, he's not listed, so I imagine he's in Charlotte. But
Ajamong and Abada, I mean...
Those are big ones.
I hadn't even thought about it, but San Jose defense might not be a bad call this week.
No, and we'll see. I mean, Zaha's still around. Who knows? And I'm not, like, super high on San Jose by any means. I do think this is still a winnable game. It's honestly one of the things I do like about Charlotte as a team, not just this week, but all season, is that they don't have that many guys on international teams. They really don't.
That's big
I mean,
for them.
general, call-ups don't hurt them that much. They lose 1, 2, 3 guys max.
Yeah.
So... They're a team that, I mean, even as like
It used to just be Swiderski.
Right.
Then it was Swiderski and Abada.
Even as like Toklamai makes, I mean, I imagine he'll be making some sort of Israeli U18 team eventually. You know, those
not in this one because the U18s and the U20s are out.
Right. But I think at some point he will be to that level once he starts scoring. I mean, he's a relatively unknown player. I imagine he's playing again, you know, to get onto that team, there's guys who are in leagues already. He's kind of new. But I do think Toklamai's going to score this season. And I do think he may be a guy that leaves sometimes. But even still, I think they're in good shape with international call-ups.
Yeah. Fire, Gutierrez, Cincy, Denke.
Yep.
Colorado, Zach Steffen. Columbus has a few. Arfston, Farsi, and Schulte.
Yeah. Now, Arfston sent off last week. This is a question that is...
I wish Santi Rodriguez was still on NYC because I would definitely play him.
Yeah.
With 3 defenders missing. And Farsi, not totally a defender, but still. I would be all over it.
My question, and I don't know, this is a rule thing that I probably should know as a sportscaster, but does Arfston being on international duty... That doesn't count as him serving a red card, right? He still misses next game when he's back.
Correct.
So that extends it even farther for them as an issue. Yeah. I think Columbus is a team I'd stay away from.
Oh, yeah, no, I wouldn't take anyone on Columbus this week. And I think NYC is a lot better than people thought they were going to be. A lot better than I thought they were going to be. We talked shit about them at the beginning of the season before it started.
Yeah.
Santi's gone, and... Who's left?
No, well, and by the way, I wish I remembered the player's name. I would know it if I heard it. But that, scissor kick at the back post off the rebound that they had against New England, that was a fantastic
wasn't
goal.
Who I thought it was going to be. I can't think of his name right
now. No, it was
Martinez. It wasn't Alonso Martinez. That's who I thought it was going to be.
But great
and
finish.
I was like, who is this guy?
They look good. And honestly, I thought that was going to be a goal. Great save, and then they hit the rebound.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Martin Paz is gone for Dallas. I will say this. I've already said a few goalies. There's quite a few goalies. So it is a good week to pick up a cheap keeper and maybe make it easier to do a keeperoo because 2 cheap keepers potentially.
Right. Well, and to be honest with you, I wouldn't spend as much time on your keepers if you're not sure just go with the cheaper guy and save it and find a striker and make
Or a
your points that
midfielder.
way.
The midfielders are really expensive.
Here's the thing: the league average right now, like I'm exactly about 50% in the Charlotte FC thing. I'm in the top 5,000 overall, which is by no means good, but it means I am about average, and my scores have been in the mid 40s to mid 50s, which means you're okay having a player that you have no confidence in.
Well, and what
to
is
make
it?
room for other guys.
A keeper that gets a
are gonna
clean
do well.
sheet and doesn't do anything else, which is very often what happens with a clean sheet,
Yeah,
has 7 points.
right.
That's not. You give up 4 or 5 points, and then you go get a much better midfielder or a striker who could way more than make up that difference.
Yes. Now, in principle, I always believe in that, but this week even more because it's even harder to get a good keeper this week.
Yeah. Houston, Jack McGlynn.
Yep.
I don't think he's been great, but he is kind of a centerpiece for them.
Yeah.
I never liked Houston. I don't like them even more this week.
Yeah.
Belanga's out for LAFC.
Yeah.
I'd say that's a big one, but who
it's
knows?
Another guy I think who needs a fucking break.
There's some guys missing for Miami, but they're on a bye, so it doesn't matter. New
Yeah.
England is as well. This is the first week of that.
Yep.
Now there's an even number of teams. You don't have that bye every week.
Right.
Now those two teams are on a bye. So Minnesota United, this is a rough one. Boxall, Ludd, Oluwaseyi, St. Clair.
Yeah.
I'm fading them so hard this week.
Yeah. No, I'm definitely a little worried.
Montreal, Waterman. Already don't like Montreal, don't like their defense, and Waterman is probably their best defender.
Yep.
So a good time to go against them. I do like Nashville, by the way.
Yeah.
Nashville, Nahar, and Schaffelberg are the big ones. I was actually going to play Nahar this week because he's the cheapest defender, and he gets other points sometimes.
Yeah.
And then he's out, so that kind of stinks.
By the way, no Zimmerman. He is still around. He's a guy that last season we were losing on international call-ups. But he is...
Is he hurt?
Is he?
You said no Zimmerman.
Well, he's not going.
No Zimmerman on... I got you.
Right, he's not on this list. Zimmerman is still around.
I
So
got you.
keep that in mind if
He's
you
also
already
the
like
most expensive.
Nashville.
I like Lovitz.
Yes, I do think you get a little more assist potential out of Zimmerman and a little more corner goal potential out of Zimmerman.
I'll talk to you why I like Lovitz more.
We'll get into that. Red Bulls.
Red Bulls is big too. Coronel, Yengar, Valencia. So quite a few players there.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not naming all of them. I mean, they got 6 or 7 guys off.
Right.
I'm just naming ones that play more. NYC, Alonso Martinez, who I just said is their attack, which obviously wasn't this weekend, but
right.
So as much as I'd love to play NYC players this week, there's no one that I want to play.
Yeah.
Orlando City, really just Galese, but again, another keeper.
Well, and
but I would
Galese,
never play an Orlando keeper.
You shouldn't be playing him regardless.
Oh, my goodness. Philly, Baribo, Blake, Gazdag. Ouch.
Yeah. Westfield as well, who's young but really gets involved with that team too. I mean, the number of times they said Westfield last week. Not that it fucking led to anything ever, but they did keep saying his name.
Portland, Arujo, Crepeau, Lassiter. So
yeah, well, and honestly, Portland,
names.
I'm not worried about Crepeau being gone. They have 2 starting goalies. They don't really need Crepeau right now.
I know.
So
they got Pantomis.
They're a team I
think
really
he's been
like.
Playing more so far.
And we'll get into more about this, but I love DaCosta. I think he has slid into the Evander role so nicely. He's not on his international team. I don't know where he's from. I don't know why he wouldn't be on his international team.
I mean, if it's a stud team.
Yeah, I don't know where he's from.
What if he's from Argentina or Brazil?
Or he's like French. Who knows? But the point is, he's fucking awesome. I love him. He's around this week. I don't think they're losing that much. He's definitely someone I'm looking at.
Yeah, I just avoid their D. But I avoid their D anyway.
Yeah. Salt Lake.
So I loved Luna this week until I realized he wasn't playing.
Yeah, and honestly,
that's the big deal.
I hate them without Diego Luna.
Yeah.
He so controls that midfield, and he is their he's the maestro of that team's goals. They had a goal last weekend that was like, I want to say it was like 8 or 9 passes. Diego Luna is the center of it. It's give and go to him.
Well, and then he also had a goal of his own, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, he's just so good.
And they play Dallas this week, and Salt Lake's home. Ugh.
Yeah. No, that game
could have been good. San Diego, Godoy and Patty McNair.
Yep.
San Jose. Joseph Martinez, but I don't know how much he's actually been playing. So they're pretty much at full strength.
Yeah.
Sounders, Nuhu, and Vargas.
Mm-hmm.
Someone for St. Louis, but he's
a U18.
Yeah. Vancouver, Ali Ahmed and Brian White. And Galder's already hurt.
And Vitae gone out of the midfield.
Yep.
Those are 3 big ones. Vitae, Ahmed, and White. Cuba's gone as well, but
and what sucks though is they are playing Chicago Fire. Chicago Fire defense doesn't stop anyone, but maybe they will now. But Chicago Fire defense on the road, and it's the 10:30 game, so it's not like you could put a guy on the bench and see how he does.
Yeah.
So
now
I've got Gutman in my Gutman, however you say it.
I like Gutman this week,
and he actually scores goals and gets assists sometimes. So, but I have him. I like the Fire, and he can do more stuff too. So,
as far
as
those
are your biggest call-ups
games this week, I'm gonna run through all the games quick. We're not gonna talk about every single one, but I'm just gonna give you the list, and then we'll talk about ones we're interested in. Cincy Atlanta 2:30 Saturday. We've got Minnesota LA at 4:30. Charlotte San Jose at 7:30, along with the Crew and NYCFC. New York Red Bulls, Toronto, Orlando City, DC. We've got Philly, St. Louis to round out the 7:30s. 8:30, we've got Kansas City, LAFC, Nashville, Montreal. 9:30, we kick into Rapids, Portland. Then Real Salt Lake and Dallas, also at 9:30. 10:30, we have Seattle, Houston. And the Whitecaps will play Chicago. Sunday, just one match at 4 o'clock, Austin, San Diego. Now, that first game, 2:30, I mixed feelings on Cincinnati because Denke is gone, and I do think that's a hit. I will also say, and last week, and this wasn't on air, but me and him said it to each other, we have to stop trying to predict the first game these guys are back.
Yeah.
We keep trying to find the first game Bouanga's going to go off. We keep trying to find the first game Lucho's going to go off. I think Evander's going to go off. I just really do. He was so good last week. He got robbed against Charlotte. He's now playing back at home at TQL. It's a really good stadium there. Cincinnati thrives at home. There is no Denke, so it has to be Evander. He's the only one. And he is taking those shots, and I think he got unlucky last week. Atlanta, not a defense I expect to give him issues. Really, the only thing that worries me, and this is possible, is Brad Guzan stands on his head and makes a million saves.
Yeah.
But I really like Evander this week, just because I don't think Cincinnati has any other option. If they want to put goals on the board, it has to go through
Orejano, because I thought he'd be involved in the attack, and also at home, they get clean sheets at home. They let up a million goals on the road, but they get clean sheets at home. So, but Orejano's so expensive.
Yep, and I don't have Orejano just for budget purposes, but I
had him, and I had to pull him out.
I made room for Evander because I really, and I could be wrong again, but I believe this is the week for him.
I believe a lot of things the last 4 weeks.
Back home, playing against Atlanta,
I believe I didn't suck at fantasy MLS soccer.
Minnesota, LA, I mean, with all these guys missing from Minnesota, I really don't love this game. I think LA needs a win. I think they could go get it here.
I have 3 LA guys.
I think they need to go win, and I think they could. I actually like LA this week, but I don't know that I trust LA, even though I think they should win.
I got 2 of them on my bench.
Yeah, that's probably smart.
It's the second game of the day. Every other game is behind them besides Cincy Atlanta. So if they perform, great. If not, they're on your bench.
Yeah.
And you just don't scrub in.
Charlotte, San Jose, I think Charlotte's the better team. I don't have a ton to say about this match, honestly. I think San Jose could be scary. We're really only missing Tim
Not a bad
Ream.
time to take some defenders, though.
Yeah,
Ricketts
you're only missing
Rodriguez.
That's true. Because you are missing Ajamong and Abada. On the Charlotte side, though, you're only missing Ream, and I don't think he's some fundamental piece anyway. I don't think this is like the Arango week necessarily, at least not over any other week.
Right.
Crew, NYCFC. The Crew are just missing so many things here. We already talked about that. We kind of like NYC.
I would like NYC.
Here. Red Bulls Toronto. I mean, the Red Bulls, I think, are the better team. To be honest, I haven't watched a lot of Toronto. I know Bernadetti's been putting up numbers. I don't really give a shit about this game, I'll be honest with you.
No.
Orlando, DC. This game I like because it should be 10-9. This should be the highest scoring game of all time. I love Benteke.
I like Ojeda.
I just love attackers in that matchup.
Yeah.
Philly, St. Louis.
I like St. Louis. Man.
I like St. Louis. I like St. Louis's back line.
I like St. Louis anyway, and then you take out all those players for Philly.
I think this is a week for St. Louis to really go show that they can score some fucking goals too. I don't think they're putting up a lot on the board right now, even though they're holding down all these clean sheets.
Yeah.
Kansas City, LAFC. I don't care about this game, but I will say the alarm bells are ringing in LA. You are going to fucking Kansas City if you don't come back with 3 points.
Honestly, I originally had Jovic in my lineup. There's so many forwards that I like this week, and I wound up taking them out. But I originally had Jovic.
Well, and Jovic knows how to score against LAFC. They have not changed their back line very much. I think they look worse than they did, and Jovic was always someone I liked against LAFC. Yeah. Nashville, Montreal, Nashville at home.
I've never said this in my life, but I love Nashville this week.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't love them.
Oh, I do.
I think
they're so much better than they had been. If they're doing well,
yes.
And Montreal's so bad.
Montreal is so bad, and if there was a week you were going to take Nashville.
And no Waterman.
I like Nashville as a out-and-out bet. I don't. Fantasy-wise, I just don't know. I kind of like Surridge. Other than that, I mean, Zimmerman maybe. I just don't know that I trust it.
I like Lovitz.
Lovitz, and we'll get into that. Rapids, Portland. This will be a high-scoring game, I think.
Like most of Colorado's games.
Yeah, and Portland as well. I mean, these are not defensive teams.
Salt Lake, Dallas, no Luna.
Yeah, what a boring match.
And this game should have been so exciting at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, and hey, RSL with no Luna, this is a chance for Dallas to kind of put it together.
This is the week.
I'm not picking anybody from Dallas.
Not even a little.
But I do think we could... Yeah. I wouldn't be shocked to see Lucho go out and have a goal. I wouldn't be shocked to see Musa with a brace or something. I just am not confident enough to make those picks.
Mm-hmm.
Seattle should dismantle Houston. I don't care that Nuhu's gone. He's one.
Seattle's so much better at home than on the road.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even close.
Well, and they still have Jordan Morris. They still have Rusnak. I don't know what anyone...
A lot of midfielders.
Yeah.
Rock.
They should go crazy this game. Vancouver, Chicago.
Love Chicago in this game.
Yeah.
Might have liked them anyway. And Vancouver missing those three, plus the other one you said...
Well, and
like I told you, for the only time this season, probably, I'm taking Chicago defenders.
At some point, this has to end with Vancouver. They cannot run off clean sheets forever, right? So when is it? Probably on the international call-up when half their fucking team's missing. Yeah. I think that makes the most sense.
And then the only game Sunday, Austin and San Diego.
I gotta be honest with you.
I think it's going to be a 0-0 game.
I'm thinking 1-0 San Diego. I'm thinking...
Could be 1-0 Austin, too.
It could be. I'm thinking Dwyer with the goal. I love him. I think this San Diego team is so good. They're fun to watch. I just don't... Like I said, I like Ilya Sanchez at Austin, but I don't think Brendan Vasquez has really delivered yet. I don't think this is the week he's gonna. The San Diego team's been very tough to beat. They're not giving up a lot of chances.
And Uzuni hasn't done anything like he's supposed to. And
right,
he's away this week, too.
I think Austin plays a tough match and loses close here.
All right, well, let's take a quick break before our lineups.
Yep, we'll be back. All right, guys, we are back from break. We're going to get into next week's fantasy. John, you want to kick us off?
Yeah. So, like I always do, I like teams.
Yep.
And then from there, I go to players. Attacking-wise, I like DC. I like Kansas City, like we had said. I like the Galaxy because of all the guys on international break. I like Red Bull, and I like Orlando. Those ones I like the most. There's other ones I do like. Those are the ones that I like the most.
Yeah. I kind of agree. My team, I'm looking at a 3-5-2. Now, it's early in the week. It's Tuesday. Some of this may move, but at least for right now.
And always check
your lineups, guys.
Yes.
As of right now, where I am, so at the back, honestly, goalie-wise, I don't even know what I'm going to do. There is a part of me that wants Joe Willis. He's just so expensive. I don't think I'm going to be able to make that work.
I originally had him. He's the best. He's my favorite goalie this week, but
I'll be looking at backups.
Over $8 million for a keeper. Jeez.
Yeah. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do with it. Probably the other Portland goalie, whose name I can't remember right now.
Pantemis?
Yes. Probably Pantemis.
2 PK saves again.
Yeah, but I'm not set on that. Now, backline, Akil Watts, just because he's the cheapest St. Louis defender. Nathan Byrne takes a lot of crosses. It only takes one of those to become a goal. And honestly, I like Charlotte for a clean sheet this week. Part of me thought Kalina, but he's just so expensive. And I think I can, Byrne is real cheap. So he saves some space. I have Laborda right now. He's got a high average, 7.5 points a game. Now, that is assuming, he's had 4 clean sheets, so that's inflating that average. Again, not a guy
Chicago
I'm totally set
goals.
on. They do.
But I think without all those attackers, Vancouver is going to park the bus, and so maybe hoping for a 0-0 or 1-0.
Right. But again, my back line is really, I don't know totally what I'm doing yet. My midfield, I'm a little more settled here. Dreyer, I love him against Austin. He's been awesome every week. I think he's kind of a focal point for them now that there's no Chucky. Rusnak, absolutely love him against Houston. Evander,
he's been very consistent this
Like
season.
I said, Evander, I think this is the week for him. Ojeda, I have as well, and then DaCosta. Right now, I'm thinking probably Rusnak captain. I'm not 100% there, but I think he's the most consistent of these 5. I think he's probably the one I can count on to really just not shit the bed. Averaging 9.25 points a game. I mean, that's 2 points higher than anyone else on this lineup right now.
Yeah.
Benteke and Prince Owusu up top. Not married to Prince Owusu. He's cheaper, $7.4 million, but
God, there's so many forwards I like.
There's a lot. And honestly, what I'll have to do is get rid of Benteke because he is so expensive, but I will have to find a middle ground
here. He has a goal every game except the last one, and he did have a goal. He was just taken away.
And I think them going to Orlando, he's just...
Where the whole world scores. I could score in Orlando.
Yeah, he's just so safe here. So I like Benteke for now. It's just going to be... Can I find a Prince Owusu replacement that allows me to keep Benteke in the budget? Because I don't have... I mean, right now I'm sitting at 109 and change, 109.6. I mean, that's not an amount of money that you'd like to have. I do need this value to go up to really be able to get everyone I want. But as of right now, I'm happy with this. I think it's the back line that'll change. Maybe Prince Owusu out, somebody else in. Benteke will stay there as long as I can afford him. That's really all there. What about you? Who do we got?
So I'll talk about real quick defenses I like. So Nashville's my favorite defense this week. Mm-hmm. Also like Cincy. I did like Columbus till there were so many people missing. San Diego, Seattle, Austin. Those are the ones that I like the best. So my keeper, those are based on numbers into the season, but I really like St. Louis this week. Mm-hmm. I like them defensively and attacking. When I take Philly's numbers, period, on the season, St. Louis doesn't look great. But when they lost all those guys, it's not the same team.
Yeah.
And St. Louis has like 3 or 4 clean sheets.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think they have 4.
I think they're 4 for 4.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure the backup is playing, not Berkey.
Yep.
So
and I believe Berkey's injured.
Yeah, that's why. No, he's not on a call up or anything. Lunt or Lunt, I think it's Lunt. So I like him, and he's only $5.5 million. My back line, I also have Akil Watts because I like their D. I have Gutman from Chicago. It's not one I would normally take, but I don't like this Vancouver attack without all those guys. Maya Yoshida, I like LA this week against this Minnesota team.
Yeah, he's one I thought about. Something about him worries me, and I can't quite put my finger on it with them. I just don't.
They have no clean sheets this year.
There's that, but also
But how do you like Maya Yoshida at only $6.8 million?
Yeah, it's a great value.
Last year he was a lot more expensive.
Well, and I also just think, do you go Yoshida or Yamane?
They're not that different in price. I think Yamane's only $300,000 less.
Really? Then honestly, you know what I think?
Then I go
Yoshida.
And then Lovitz. He's the Nashville guy that I like.
Yeah.
Midfield. My midfield is mostly expensive. Rusnak, Mihailovic, Hartel, Ojeda. Mm-hmm. They're all really expensive, but they're some of the most consistent guys this season. Yep. And they have good matchups additionally. And then I have Isaiah Parente. I had him last week too. He's someone that will probably be on a price rise. And he gets a lot of passes, and he gets key passes.
Yeah.
And he's only $4.7 million. So he's on my bench. They play early, and we'll see what happens with him.
Right.
I could scrub him in. Forwards. So I wound up going with Choupo-Moting, Benteke, and Peck. But I like Jordan Morris. I like Joveljic.
Yeah.
I like Surridge. I mean, there's quite a few guys that I like, so it could change. I think those are the ones I like the best. I'm not 100% positive. I really might wind up getting Surridge in.
I like Alonso Martinez as well.
He's away.
Oh, then no, I don't. Never mind.
So that's the last few weeks. Forwards have been difficult for me.
Yeah. No, it's been rough. Well, and I also feel like there is a little bit of getting used to new faces in, who is the look on each team now. I feel like we're finally getting there a little more.
Well, and Peck is kind of the outlier of that, and you're like, Peck, he's not scoring much. They suck. Look how many passes and key passes he gets.
Yeah.
He got 6 points and 7 points in consecutive weeks with no goals or assists.
Yep.
That's a lot of bonus points. He gets a goal. Also, he's got 11 or 12 points. So, and I always like guys that you don't need a goal for them to do decent. Hell, I'll take a 6 or a 7 now. That was my best score last week, was a 6.
Yeah.
So,
for sure. As far as betting goes, so I'll be honest with you. There's not a ton of games I love just because of all the guys that are missing and things. But there's a few games that did seem a little lopsided, so I wanted to at least talk about them. Cincinnati minus 125 at home playing Atlanta. I like Cincinnati this game. I really do. Atlanta's kind of due for a win a little. I get that side
really
of it.
Good at home.
Yeah, I think minus 125. I'm okay with that. Galaxy in Minnesota plus 270. I don't know if MGM knows how many people are missing.
I like that a lot.
I just think with all these people missing LA.
Well, it's just worse. The odds you're getting.
Right.
Yeah.
Los Angeles hasn't won a game this season. That's not going to continue. They're going to win a game.
Yeah.
At some point. Yeah. And I think if they were ever going to, this is the week. Charlotte, San Jose, I would stay away from this game.
I would too.
Plus 350 San Jose. I mean, if you really want to just bet a long shot, it pays well, but I'm not confident in them.
A long shot, that's Charlotte. A good team.
Right. I don't know that I would put my money there. Red Bull Toronto, I could give a shit about that game. Plus 320 for Toronto.
I don't love it.
I don't either.
I could see that being a draw, too.
Yeah. With the draws plus 270, if you want to go absolutely crazy and bet a tie.
That's hard for me to do. I can't watch that game. If you bet a draw, don't watch the game.
Yeah. I've never bet a draw in my whole life. St. Louis plus 230 in Philly. Philly's missing a lot of guys, which makes me kind of
Plus
like
230?
Yep.
Oh, I like that.
I like St. Louis. I also, they're not a team I usually bet against Philly, but I just think Philly's missing so many weapons. I don't know who comes out and hurts St. Louis, really.
I mean, who's playing besides Ura that can score goals?
Right. So I like St. Louis, and at plus 230, I really
Big day
like
for the
them.
Sullivan family.
Yeah.
Both the boys on the field.
You'd have to imagine. Orlando, D.C., I don't really love this game
What's
either
the
way.
over?
The over, 2.5 goals minus 185, because they know. If you really wanted to go crazy, hold on, I could tell you, if you bet the over at 3.5 goals, over 3.5 is plus 145.
Interesting.
I don't hate that, but I wouldn't bet either team in that game. Oh my god, it just kicked me out of everything. Hold on. Here we go. Giving me U.S. Open lines. Dallas, Salt Lake, staying away from it. Colorado, Portland, staying away from it. Sounders, minus 145 at home.
I like that.
That's free money, as far as I'm concerned. Austin, San Diego. I mean,
that's a hard one.
San Diego's plus 230.
And you like them, so at plus 230.
I like them for that money.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, if you're just looking for a good value bet, that's definitely one to keep on the list. But it's not my favorite bet by any means here. And then Chicago, who I don't love, but I love them at plus 260.
I do too.
I think that's a lopsided line.
Yeah.
Vancouver minus 110.
Yeah, and I will say, if you look at all these pluses, I think more than half pay out, and that puts you way up.
Right.
More than half payout.
But yeah, there's good lines this week. Definitely. Again, it's Tuesday. These are going to move a little bit as bets go in. But I would be checking, especially once injury reports come out too. Recheck the lines at that point. To be honest,
the lineups. I mean, you never know.
It doesn't seem like most of these sports books, because we use BetMGM, but there's other ones out there, and I look at their lines too just to see what discrepancies are like. It doesn't seem like sports books are really on to the fact that there is an international window with the MLS. They don't.
I don't think they care. I don't know how many bets come in with MLS.
Right, but because of that,
it makes it someplace where you could actually win.
Yeah, they're not adjusting lines
to
take that into
Vegas,
account. So that's what I would look at. John, anything else you want to say to the people?
Always check your lineups.
Check your lineups, guys. That's our show. We'll see you next week.